Good morning, I'm Jed Davis in the WSFA 12 Now studio. We're about to join a news conference in progress where the Alabama legislature is recognizing longtime Alabama Senator Richard Shelby. He'd been in office in politics for 50 years, spent the last 36 years in the U.S. Senate. He's retiring to be with family in Tuscaloosa, and he handpicked his successor, his former chief of staff, Katie Britt, who took the oath of office. That happened back on January 3rd. Well, today, lawmakers and Governor Kay Ivey are all recognizing the former Senator Shelby. So let's listen in to that news conference.
Attorney General of Alabama. And whereas Senator Shelby began his legislative career when he was elected a state senator, serving 2 terms from 1970 to 1978. In 1978, he was elected to Alabama's 7th Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives and began the first of 4 terms in 1979. His conservatism was apparent from the start as he supported legislation with fiscal responsibility in mind, and whereas he was elected to the United States Senate in 1986 and served 6 consecutive terms from 1987 to 2023. Senator Shelby introduced legislation in every Congress establishing a flat tax as well as a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. He continued to oppose big government and legislation for government bailouts throughout his time in office. And whereas Senator Shelby's beliefs and ideals earned him seats on a number of influential committees, including Chair and Vice Chair, Senate Committee on Appropriations, Chair, Appropriations Subcommittee on Labor, Health, and Human Services, Education, and related agencies, Chair, Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, Chair, Senate Committee on Rules and Administration, Chair, Senate Committee on Intelligence. And whereas Senator Shelby has played an instrumental role in supporting Department of Defense, NASA, and FBI projects, most notably in Huntsville at Redstone Arsenal, he has also secured research dollars and funding for the state's universities and maximized the potential of the Port of Mobile, Alabama's only seaport, as well as the shipbuilding industry. And whereas Richard Shelby has served Alabama as a senator of consequence, representing his people and his state in the best manner possible. Now therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of Alabama, both houses thereof concurring, that United States Senator Richard Shelby is hereby commended for his dedicated service to the state of Alabama and its citizens. And this resolution is offered to him as evidence of our sincere gratitude, along with best wishes for continued health and happiness in all future endeavors.
At this time, we will recognize our leadership for remarks. Governor Ivey.
Senator Shelby, Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth, Speaker Ledbetter, Senate President Pro Tem Reed, Senator Wagner, and distinguished guests. I'm honored to participate in this joint session honoring a friend to all of Alabama, Senator Richard Shelby. And to Senator Shelby, as governor, I say, welcome home. Senator, while you made your mark in halls of the United States Capitol, you began your long and unrivaled political journey right here in the Alabama State Capitol. We are honored to have you back. Senator Shelby's career of public service to this state and our country has been remarkable. He is Alabama's longest-serving United States Senator at 36 years. That's 6 terms, and prior to that, 8 years in the U.S. House representing Alabama's 7th congressional district. When we think of Alabama's monumental U.S. senators, for many, Lister Hill, Jim Allen, and John Sparkman come to mind. While each was known for expertly navigating Washington politics to benefit our state, I think it's fair to say their impacts have been rivaled and eclipsed by the work of Senator Richard Shelby. Over the years, his skill and dedication and seniority in Congress have made countless investments in economic growth and the quality of enhancements in our state. As a proponent of improving educational opportunities, Senator Shelby has steered literally hundreds of millions of dollars into cutting-edge science and engineering programs at many Alabama universities. He said he was proud to champion these investments because they would bring the best teachers and expertise to our state. His wisdom will benefit Alabama for many decades to come. He has also been a driving force behind the explosive mission growth of Redstone Arsenal and the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville. His staunch commitment to upgrading the capability of the Port of Mobile helped forge a federal-state partnership that we are all proud of to fund the deepening and widening of the port by 2025. No doubt, this will have a tremendous positive impact on our state economy. In honoring Senator Shelby, I cannot overlook the other half of their successful team, Dr. Annette Shelby. Annette blazed a trail of her own in Washington. She was the first woman to become a tenured full professor at Georgetown University's prestigious McDonough School of Business, where she was also named Professor Emerita. She has also served as director of both the Georgetown graduate and undergraduate programs at Oxford University. Senator Shelby and Annette never forgot their roots and remained as close as they possibly could to Alabama. And for that, we are truly grateful. Senator, thank you for your dedicated service to our state and nation. Congratulations, sir. We wish you the best, and we proudly welcome you back to our sweet home, Alabama.
Thank you, Governor Ivey. Since announcing his retirement in February of 2021, Richard Shelby has been showered with titles, honoring his decades of public service. Some have called him Alabama's greatest senator. Some have referred to him as Alabama's greatest politician, and others have labeled him as Alabama's greatest statesman. I think of him in other terms. In my opinion, he should be forever known as Alabama's greatest builder. Because of Richard Shelby's efforts in the corridors, committee rooms, and chambers of the U.S. Capitol, Alabama has built roads and bridges, buildings and libraries, military bases, and command headquarters. His work has built world-class research programs and state-of-the-art labs at Alabama's four-year colleges and universities. Richard Shelby's relationships in Washington have built a thriving aerospace industry in Huntsville and the Tennessee Valley that promises to continue growing and producing high-paying, long-lasting 21st century jobs well into the future. And because of Senator Richard Shelby's contributions, the next generation of naval combat ships is being built rivet by rivet in Mobile, Alabama. The list is long, and I could continue, but time demands that I cut to the chase. Perhaps the most important and lasting thing Richard Shelby has built during 51 years in office is his legacy. A legacy that will provide jobs, hope, and opportunity to our children, our grandchildren, and their children after them for decades to come. Long after Richard Shelby and all of us that gather in this room have passed, his work, his contributions, and his legacy will continue touching and improving the lives of Alabamians not yet born. A legacy is the greatest gift a public official can give to those he seeks to serve. And Senator, we thank you for it. Next up, Senator Reed.
Good morning. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, my legislative colleagues, Senator Shelby. It is an honor and a privilege, sir, to be able to be given the opportunity to speak at the event today to honor you. I would echo everything that's been said eloquently by our governor and by our lieutenant governor in regards to your vast accomplishments and the strength at which you have carried the title and worn the mantle of responsibility for the people of the great state of Alabama. But I want to mention another topic that is important to me, that I know is important to many as we think about your legacy as been described and the commitment that you've made to the people of Alabama. If you go through this room, you're going to find and identify, Senator, and I am one of them, those young people that have been forever influenced by your character, by your service, by your dedication and the use of your intellect on behalf of the people of Alabama. And representing many of us, as I would look around the room and see, that have been encouraged, that have been given wise counsel, that have been offered advice, that have been pulled back maybe a few times by the likes of Richard Shelby, being able to offer what he is able to offer as encouragement and dedication to folks that are moving into the public realm, looking for an opportunity, inspired by Senator Shelby, to themselves place forward an opportunity to serve the people of this great state. So, Senator, I want to thank you for 100 reasons. But the most important one I want to thank you for is the personal encouragement that you've given to me and so many others to follow in your footsteps to be a servant of the people. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Speaker Ledbetter.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It's truly a privilege to honor a man whose contributions, as much as anyone as I can remember, the state of Alabama. Senator Richard Shelby has dedicated his life to serve our state and its citizens. And I can guarantee that his accomplishments and contributions to Alabama will always be remembered. Alabama is where we are today because of Senator Richard Shelby and his service and his leadership. When appropriations discussions came around, Senator Shelby ensured Alabama was at the forefront of every conversation, and we thank you for that. Alabama's economy is stronger than it's ever been. We have more jobs than we can fill. Our port competes with national ranking thanks to the lifelong work of Senator Richard Shelby. On top of his legislative success, His man that personifies honesty, integrity, and proved that throughout his years of service each day, and we appreciate you doing that for our state. Senator Brett has some big shoes to fill, without question. But if anyone has the ability to do it, she is the one that can. And Senator Shelby recognized that fact long before anyone else. Alabama will forever be better because of your leadership, and getting to know you has been an honor for me. We look forward to building upon the firm foundation you've provided all of us, and are blessed and better off because of your 51 years of service to the great state of Alabama.
Thank you, Speaker Ledbetter. Senator Wagner.
You may wonder why I'm standing here out of all the House members and Senate members that have known Richard through the years. It appears that I'm the only one in the Alabama legislature still standing. That is the key word, still standing, that served with Richard when he came to the Alabama Senate in 1971. I had been elected in 1967, so I had a 4-year head start on Richard. But when he came to the rotunda in 1971, where I first met Richard, we immediately had a bond. He grew up on the west side of Birmingham like I did. We did not know each other as young men or teenagers. He went to Hewittown High School. I went to Ensley High School. We did not know each other until 1971. The Alabama legislature at that time in history, the House met in this chamber. There were probably 5 offices back here. The rest of us, our office was our seat in this chamber. So we spent a lot of time in the rotunda talking to colleagues. In the Senate, they probably had 5 offices back behind the chamber. If you were a senator, your office was at your desk. Mine was right over here. And I'd served 16 years in the House, 8 of those with Richard. But when they asked me to say a few words, they wanted me to talk about our history as colleagues, Richard in the Senate, me in the House. But then I was asked to tell one story about Shelby and Wagner, okay? And you'll find it very interesting and humorous. I've lived under several U.S. senators, Senator Lister Hill, Sparkman, Heflin, Jim Allen, and others. But when the history books about Alabama's U.S. senators are written, Richard Shelby will be right at the top. What he has accomplished during his service in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate is remarkable. You look at the highway system and what he's done to improve that, the infrastructure, 4-year colleges. It is unbelievable what he's done during his tenure in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. I predict when the history book of Alabama's political history is written, Richard Shelby will be right at the top. Everybody in Alabama knows the name Richard Shelby. Everybody. And what he has accomplished for us as citizens of Alabama is just remarkable. Where would Alabama be today had it not been for Richard Shelby's accomplishments in the U.S. Senate? When the history book of Alabama politicians is written, my friend, you will be right at the top. I've enjoyed his friendship through the years, and it began right in that rotunda, and I think being from really from the same neighborhood in Birmingham, we had a lot of talk about. We've had many conversations back in the day right out there. There was not many lobbyists back when we started, so there was room in the rotunda for private conversations between House and Senate members. But he's been a dear friend for a long, long time, and I'm so proud of us recognizing what he has done. Let me tell you a little private story. It takes about 3 minutes. 1975, I was called to see the president of UAB, Dr. Joe Volcker, who was the first president of UAB. So I went to his office, and in his office was the lobbyist, Dr. Rudolph Davidson, who taught economics at UAB, but he was also the lobbyist. Dr. Volcker handed me a bill, and here I was in my, third term in the House. He handed me a bill, and it was an appropriation to UAB of $8.5 million. $8.5 million to buy 40 square blocks, everything west of 18th Street, if any of you from Birmingham, but it was 40 square blocks. And I told Dr. Volcker, I said, this is out of my league. I can't handle a bill like that. The 40 square blocks happened to be urban renewal land, and it was fixing to go on the open market. But Dr. Volcker said, no, you're the guy, you're going to introduce this bill. Well, I did, and I had about 15 co-sponsors. And lo and behold, we were playing baseball in this chamber where every House member got up, his time at bat. So when my time came, I chose that bill, $8.5 million appropriation to UAB, which I really didn't think I could pass it, but it did pass. It went over to the Senate, and it got its second reading. It did come out of committee, got its second reading, and the first person to get up on the mic, who happened to live in Tuscaloosa, okay, and he started talking a little bit, and he kept talking, and it kind of worried me. Is he filibustering my bill for UAB? Well, he had a telephone call, and he had to leave the chamber, and I heard that it may have been somebody from Tuscaloosa to call him about the bill. Well, while he was out of the chamber, our friend Joe Fine got up on the mic in the Senate and passed the bill. Is that a true statement? So UAB grew from 14 square blocks to over 50 square blocks, and today it's about 115 square blocks, but anyhow, it grew 40 square blocks with that bill. And there's a moral to that story. Richard tried, he said he did not filibuster. He was for the bill. Now, UAB has a lot of buildings on the campus named after Senator Shelby, okay? Lots of buildings. And Richard, I want you to remember this forever. They can name all the buildings on UAB's campus after you, but please remember one thing. Your buildings are on my property.
Thank you, Senator Wagner. Senator Shelby.
Wow, thank you. It's all been said, but I hadn't said it, and I don't plan to say it, but I was walking through the chamber this morning, and I thought, 52 years ago, I, along with others, some of them still here around, were in the legislature. 52 years. So today, I've come, with your help and others, full circle. I'm back where I started, and it's good to be home, isn't it? Home. So thank you. Thank the legislature. Governor Ivey, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth, Speaker Pro Tem Reed, Speaker Ledbetter, Jabo Wagner. I told some friends last night, Jabo's been around so long, he was here before I came to the legislature. He knew Abraham Lincoln pretty well. He denies it. He may have known Alexander Hamilton. I don't know that. Who knows? But if he did, he probably learned a lot, didn't you, Jabo? You know, from both of them. But it's a great honor. You honored me. You honor the legacy. But it's not about me. It's about our state and our people and the future of the state. You're here. You know, Alabama, Governor Ivey, I like the leadership you've brought to the state. Alabama, everywhere, people know you're open for business. You got to be open for business, and you are. Alabama is one of the lowest, few challenges in the state. You'll always have some. But open for business and one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. Think about it. Because you're open to you. And everybody here knows. Why is that important? Economics drives politics. Economics drives opportunity for all of our people. Schools, good education, good infrastructure, all of this. It's all commerce for a better life for our people, opportunity for everybody. I've tried to run that road and push that road, and I think. But I'm proud. I thank the people. I've done it many times for sending me to the state senate as a young guy. I thought I was going to come down here and run things, but after 2 days, I knew I wasn't. You know? All of you have been there. And when I got to the U.S. House of Representatives, I thought, there are 435 of them, but gosh, I bet I could help run this place. But I've realized I was going to have to work with them to get anything done. And I went to the U.S. Senate, and I wondered, I had arrived after that 36 years ago. And I thought, how'd these other guys get here after I got there? You know, they wondered how I got there. But thanks to the people of Alabama, and I owe them so much. You owe them a lot. And you're the future, this legislature, the governor, and everything. We're on a roll in Alabama. We've come a long way. We've got some challenges. You have them here. But I've always thought we're in this together. You know, we're all citizens of Alabama, all the people. And if we work together and advance everybody's education, economic opportunity, we're going to be a much better state and a great place to live. So that's guided me over the years, that I knew that Alabama needed to be at the table, as Jabo says, to be represented if there's going to be something there. But it's, you know, we live in a different world today than I came here 52 years ago. We are in globalization, but we're doing well here. I remember just a few years ago when they brought Mercedes-Benz to Alabama, and people were stunned all over the country. Why would they come to Alabama? Some of my colleagues in the U.S. Senate, I resented it, but I didn't tell them that, said, why would Mercedes-Benz come to Alabama? And where's that place? Tuscaloosa? Who is that? Where's that? I said, that's my home, you know. And said, why would they come there? I said, well, a lot of reasons. Good people, hard workforce, good infrastructure, university near there, engineering side. Look what's happened. But after that, I think Mercedes opened Alabama to the world. You know, that we are in it, and you've done such a heck of a job. The legislature, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the leader Reed, all of them, the speaker, and you understand that. So that's what I've been about. I've had a good run, 52 years. My wife's trying to get me something to do, and I'll do that. But you honored me today. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm humble because of that, and I won't ever forget it. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
The purpose of this joint session having been accomplished, we stand adjourned.
You have been listening. It is Alabama Senator Richard Shelby being honored by the state legislature, the Alabama legislature. A lot to say. We heard from many key speakers there, people who've seen him over the last 50 plus years. He said 52 years, Senator Richard Shelby in office there, and he accomplished so much during that time. We heard from Governor Kay Ivey, who basically said, welcome home, back home to Alabama. We mentioned 36 years as a senator, 4 terms as a U.S. representative, so he spent a lot of time helping make laws there. Governor Ivey recognized both Senator Shelby and also his wife for her contributions that she made in their time in Washington. Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth calling him Alabama's greatest lawmaker, and also hit on a number of contributions. He said one of the greatest things he left behind, the creation of jobs in Alabama. You heard him mention that Mercedes plant in the Vance, Tuscaloosa area as one of his most proud accomplishments. We heard from Senator Greg Reed. Senator Jabo Wagner as well spoke, and he said when there's a history book written about Alabama politics, Richard Shelby will be on page 1. He was honored, maybe a little humble, maybe a little embarrassed. He said, wow, the first thing he said as he was greeted with that standing ovation when they thanked him for his service. Again, he talked about his passion for the state of Alabama and also proud of what Governor Ivey has done, saying that he realizes that people all over the world realize that Alabama is open for business. He said, it's not about me. It's about the state of Alabama. You've been watching WSFA 12 News Now. This is a story we will continue to follow throughout the day on WSFA 12 News. Alabama Live starting in just a few minutes. Later today, we will have WSFA 12 News at noon. Again, thank you for watching WSFA Now. I'm Judd Davis. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again for joining us.